All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
I love seeing Jonathan in the background as soon as the music goes off. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Look, I'm so happy to be back here with the boys. Actually, talk about a match, which was a decent match, to be honest, as Jonathan was saying as well, off air. And yeah, there's quite a bit of topics to talk about. I want to focus mostly on player analysis and talking about some key performances. But I do want to touch on the differences between the first half and the second half, the formation changes, not dwell too much on the lineups and whatnot, because it is what it is. It's a pre-season, so we can't really judge too much on that. But before we get into all of that, live chat, thank you so much for joining. It is our first proper review straight after a match, which is very, very exciting for the new season. So do appreciate you guys joining already. Please smash the like button as soon as you come in. And we are on the way now for 7,000 subscribers, hopefully very, very, within the next month or so. That'd be great. But yeah, first of all, my man, Taryn, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm excellent. It was nice be back to normality with the live streams, watching Chelsea, not normal on the Fifth Stand app. Usually I'd watch on the TV, but, all good. And excited to get into it with you guys. Just needing a show, and it'll be the famous four. But yeah, really happy to be back on the Tussle seat.
Absolutely. Once Nishal comes back, the famous four, the fantastic four comes back. I can see a few people saying, Google's saying it's Miazga. It's definitely Broja who scored the goal. So I'm not really sure what Google's talking about. It's definitely Broja who scored the goal. We're going to talk about Broja. It looked very good indeed. Jonathan, my boy, how you doing?
I'm very happy to be here. As I say, I'm smiling. It's a Chelsea game we can actually talk about as a review. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into this.
Brilliant. This is great. I'm buzzing, man. It feels a bit strange because we haven't done a match for a while. I'm like, what do I talk about next? Whereas last season it was like, yeah, bang, bang, we knew exactly what to. But live chat, just hang in there. It may be a bit of a warm up till we sort of find the rhythm again. But let's get straight into this. I want to just bring up first of all, as I said, we're not going to talk too much about the lineup, but it's interesting to have a quick look as to how we started the match. As I said, I do want to talk about the differences between the first half and the second half, and then talk about the player performances. I'll go to you, Jonathan, first up. This was the lineup to start off with. I mean, I wasn't at all fazed by it one bit. I had no comment on it. I thought it is what it is. It's the preseason. But I was a bit surprised to see where Baker would play. I didn't know if he ever played as a centre-back. Sarr, I think we've seen him play now in few of the preseason games up until now, that he has been sort of played in the back three. And that's probably more naturally his position. Sterling is one, and I will talk about that. We will definitely get into that. I thought he would probably be deployed as a right wing back as opposed to a right centre back. But once again, I wasn't one bit bothered. Jonathan, what do you make of the lineup just from the bat?
Interesting. Obviously, it's pre-season. Most of the players are still either not back or have only had a few kind of days training. So I was expecting a really strange kind of lineup, and it kind of was. And as you alluded to with the Baker one, him playing sort of that centre-back role, the Silva Christensen role, I thought it had shades of a Mourinho Conte kind of, I'm going to play a player that no one expects because I want a player to come in. And obviously, we've had links today with a certain player, which we won't talk about because we're here to talk about the game. But it was just funny that to see him start, because look, he did well. I thought he had a good half, but I was more interested in obviously how Sterling did, like you said, at right centre back. We've seen him more as a right back or right wing back. So yeah, I thought he was good as well. I thought all that back three in the first half were pretty good, to be fair, pretty solid. I was quite impressed with Sarr. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Rudiger because he's quite aggressive. He's pretty committed to all of his challenges. So I was pretty happy with that. And yeah, Alonso got more and more into the game. And obviously Hudson-Odoi, in my opinion, was the standout man of that half.
For me as well.
I thought him, Ziyech and Abraham linked up really nicely, but he was always available to collect the ball, to give it on. He drove at the defenders quite a few times. There's a really nice cross he did for Abraham at one point. So yeah, Hudson-Odoi for me was a standout, and yeah, really happy to see him. But the other bit I want to touch on is the Gallagher drink water.
And we're going to get to that. It was interesting, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think first half we looked a little bit more functional because Drinkwater is a bit more accustomed to playing in that pivot, a bit more disciplined. Second half, obviously, we didn't really have that. But I thought Gallagher was better in the first half because he was allowed a little bit more freedom. But
he wasn't the deep midfielder in the first half. You know what I mean? The second half he was, so it made a bit of a difference.
Drinkwater, I think a lot of us are surprised to even see him in a Chelsea shirt, to be honest. I agree with Bluecast TV. Great game for the guys today. Yeah, it was a much, as I said before we went live, it was more enjoyable and a little bit more interesting than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, Drinkwater, functional, did his job, allowed Gallagher to go forward and allowed a little bit more in terms of the formation that we normally play on the Tuchel. It made us a little bit more solid. But yeah, quite a few of these players, especially in the second half, I do not expect to see in a Chelsea shirt many more times.
Yeah, man, 100%. Me too. I feel the same sentiment. Before I go to Taryn, Blue Clouds TV, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Great game for the guys today. 100%. I thought it was a decent workout. We'll definitely get into more of it. Taryn, just going to you. Don't want to spend too much time actually on the lineup. It is what it is. Let's now get straight into the match itself. First of all, kudos to Chelsea getting a victory over Bournemouth. We generally don't. And at one stage, it looked like it was going to be, again, not another victory. Just talk, as I said, we'll talk about the first half and second half in detail very soon. But just in summary, what do you think about the match? I mean, decent workout for you as well, pre-season?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few games before this. I mean, the Peterborough friendly, there was that kind of pre-season kind of house friendly in Dublin. But no, this game was, against a good opposition who reached the playoffs last season, the Championship. We do have a knack of kind of losing to Bournemouth a lot, whether it's League, whether it's FA Cup, stuff like that. It was a good game to play against a Bournemouth team under Scott Parker, who is a good manager. He didn't. I don't think he really deserved to get relegated with Fulham last season. But I say the players kind of let him down at times. But, it was a great workout for a lot of these players to have a chance to impress on Thomas Tuchel. Players Abraham, who really didn't play a lot last season when they needed to. Players like Gallagher coming back from loan, some of the fringe players, such as Danny Drinkwater, who we will get into a bit later, who, I never thought I'd ever see him play, that well in a Chelsea shirt ever again. But, it's a great workout to get, good 45 to 70 minutes under their belt for the upcoming season. We do have a few more friendlies, Arsenal, Tottenham, and then it's on to Crystal Palace on the 14th. So, it's going to be a hectic season coming up. But I feel like we've had more time with Tuchel. Players have had more time compared to last season with Lampard. They've had kind of, I say, two or 3 weeks, to work with the manager, to get back up to speed, to get back up to, know what the manager wants out of his players. And I think it will benefit us a lot to have this game against Bournemouth. So, going against Tottenham in a few weeks, next week, whatever it is, I'm expecting a bit more in the final third, a bit more link-ups, with the defence, a bit more progressive passing. But, it was a good workout and a good kind of first, let's say, real pre-season game for the players.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, next up is Arsenal, and then after that is Spurs. It is a nice build-up to that game. I think Arsenal game is in the weekend as well, so it's going to be quite interesting. All right, let's now get to the nitty-gritty of the first half and the second half. I think Jonathan touched on something very crucial on his comments, and I really want to elaborate on this. I want the live chat to chip in on it as well to see what they have to say. I'd love to see what Taryn has to say as well, especially on this particular comment. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, 71 people live. Let's get those likes up straight away if you're enjoying this review. It's the first proper one for the season, which is exciting. So let's get those likes up well over 50. Let's get it to at least 70. Just helps out the channel a lot, helps out the video a lot, exposes to far more fans out there, and more fans can join in. Okay, Jonathan, first half, I saw a distinct difference between the first half and the second half. And the distinct difference was that with possession, I thought we were far more comfortable. We're far more in control. They tried to press, but we were too good in the passing sequence to get out of the way. Our passing from deep was very crisp, spraying the ball from deep, sometimes long diagonally, or short passes to either Ziyech dropping in, or from the other side, I think Pulisic dropping in, and Gallagher being just alongside Drinkwater, and Drinkwater being the deepest. It allowed Gallagher to be more sort of that freedom without the ball to run up and down, and that's more where he's comfortable. And Drinkwater surprised me massively. As like all of you guys, before the season started, we're like, we don't want to see this particular player. But now when I think about it, taking the emotions aside and all the stuff that has happened with this particular player and salary that he's been getting without playing, take all of that aside, I probably wouldn't mind seeing him in the preseason a little bit more, to be honest, because until Jorginho and everyone kind of comes back, for me, Drinkwater had a very decent game. He looked very comfortable on the ball. And I know it's Bournemouth. I get that. But that was a massive difference for me in the first half and the second half, where in the second half, when Gallagher dropped deep, he did not look as comfortable with the ball. And without the ball, he didn't know where positionally he needed to be, because he's got this mentality that he needs to go up and down and chase after the ball. I mean, what did you see the big difference between first and the second half?
I think that obviously the formation we played with a lot more familiar sort of 5-2-3-1. I think the second half, obviously, we went sort of 5-3-2. We played the two up front with Broja and Tammy, and then we had sort of Gallagher, Barkley, and Loftus-Cheek, I think it was, in midfield. And I think because he was asked to sit, Barkley and Loftus-Cheek are generally eights or players that want to go forward, have the fluidity or the freedom to go forward. So I think that was the real difference. I don't think Gallagher's even really played that role when he's played at Charlton, when he's played at Swansea on loan, even West Brom. He's always been given the freedom to go box to box. I mean, even Pat Nevin, who, to be honest, was saying quite a few things that were going through my head during the game. Every time I thought something, he said it. And I loved how the Chelsea fans were singing his name, to be honest. But all jokes aside, I think it was just, it didn't really suit. And obviously with pre-season, with so many players we're missing, we had really a mishmash second half. We didn't really have someone to sit and hold when Drinkwater went off. So I think when they switched it to Loftus-Cheek, who again, it's not his preferred position, but because he's got a bit more physique, because he's a little bit more experienced, he sat and went, I don't need to go forward. I get the ball, move it on quickly. And that's what Drinkwater did well in the first half. Do I think he's got a future at Chelsea? No. But as you said, he just does the basics well. And in pre-season, whilst the players get fit, he's not the worst player to have in that role, because he allows the others around him to go forward. So, yeah, I think that's what we missed the second half. Obviously, going up front with two players and not really having any wide men. Hudson-Odoi coming off, a massive threat on the right. Zappacosta doesn't really want to get forward too often. Obviously, the left back. Rahman, did okay, got an assist. But he's still not got that attacking threat that Alonso had. We pushed them back quite a lot of our wing backs in the first half. They couldn't really deal with us. And then obviously we switched to a 3 midfield and they just tried to pick us off through the wider areas where we weren't as lethal, as I said. Obviously we had a much less experienced centre-backs as well. We've got, who do we have? Moiska, Clark, Salter and Chalobah. In the second half.
Looked okay to me. I think Chalobah looked all right.
Chalobah looked okay. I thought Clark, Salter, I think it's, again...
He looked a bit out of it, Clark Salter.
He didn't look as interested, to be fair, at times. I think Moiska as well did okay. But a lot of that back five, to be honest, from the finish the second half, is all going to leave on loan or be sold, in my opinion. Maybe Chalobah might get a decent loan, but the rest will probably go.
You're 100% right. The second half, I think none of those back five, Baba Rahman, Clark Salter, Chalobah, Miezga, and Zappacosta, I really can't see how they're going to stick around. And you're right, that's how I felt as well. Taryn, I'm going to bring up the different sort of formations that kind of took place, and then we're going to continue talking about this particular comment from Aiden. Aiden, look, I agree with you. We're not using Drinkwater. We're champions of Europe. I completely agree with you, Aiden. But all I'm saying is I don't mind seeing him in this preseason. You just never know what it could materialize into, because for me, there was a distinct difference between the first half and the second half, the way we were in possession. And I'm not advocating one bit that Drinkwater stays on and be one of the squad members, but I just want to see how this preseason turns out if he can continue like this. Taryn, this was more or less the formation in the first half, which was the natural sort of formation that we've been going with since last season. 3 at the back, the wing backs, Drinkwater playing more in this particular area, coming around these sort of regions, he spraying the passes, and Gallagher was more up and down in this particular region. And then you have the 3 on top. And then in the second half, this was what I saw. And I want to see if that's what you saw as well. The 3 at the back, the wing backs, and then Gallagher sort of more the deepest midfielder. And then you have Ruben or Ross Barkley and Ruben more sort of just a bit ahead of them and making it a midfield 3. And then you've got Armando Broja and then Ugbo in on top. Taryn, what do you make out of the first half and the second half from your perspective?
Yeah, the first half was, I say, more of a conventional pivot. I'd say more like a Jorginho Kante kind of pivot where Drinkwater would, like Jonathan, you guys were saying, dropping in deep to allow Gallagher to move forward. That would kind of be the Kante role that I say Gallagher was playing. But in the second half, I say Gallagher kind of dropped deep and made it into 2 attacking 8s, Barkley and Loftus-Cheek. And I say there was kind of a lack of dynamism, a lack of chemistry in who was going to go forward out of Barkley and Loftus-Cheek, who was going to drop in and help. And we know Gallagher is not a player, I say, knows a position too well to be in a lone pivot like a Gilmore, like Jorginho, like I don't know, any other players in world football. He is a guy who likes to be box to box. He does like to destroy play all over the place. He likes to counter press to win the ball high up. He likes to be everywhere on the pitch. And yeah, in the second half, it was a position that you can tell he wasn't very comfortable in. We needed someone in there who was going to sit deep, who was going to control possession, who was going to dictate. We know Thomas Tuchel's football is very possession-based. We need someone who loves to have the ball, who loves to make short passes, who loves to make long passes. And Drinkwater in the first half was pinging these beautiful long balls out wide to Hudson-Odoi over and over again, straight on the money, and playing short passes as well. And when Gallagher was there, like I said, you could tell he wasn't really sure when to play a long pass, when to play it short to Loftus-Cheek or Barkley. He was trying too hard to run around, which opened up gaps for the players to run in behind into between the lines. And yeah, it didn't really work out a lot. And especially with Ross Barkley, he isn't a guy who likes to drop in and help out. He likes to be free. He likes to have a creative free roam kind of role in the team, and that left a lot more space as well. So you could tell the control in midfield really, really died down in the second half, and you could tell a lot. But yeah, I say that is testament to Danny Drinkwater that he was so composed in the first half. He proved a lot of people wrong. I'm not saying that I want Danny Drinkwater to be a start for Chelsea in pre-season or next season, but let's not forget, whether it was 4 years ago, this guy is a Premier League winner in a pivot. This guy is a guy who's played very well in a pivot in previous games. And yeah, you can tell that he is very comfortable in that role. And it's disappointing to see Gallagher. I think he needed to do more in this game. I felt like he was quite erratic with his challenges. We like to see Jorginho's
the second half, Taryn. He second half, Taryn. He seemed like the rush of blood just got to him a few times.
Even in the first half, I'd say, I was very impressed with the first kind of 15 minutes. He was winning the ball, fair tackles. But then he was diving in, like that free kick just on the edge of the box. It could have been a goal easily in the Premier League if he was playing in the game like that. He was giving away silly fouls. He was diving and leaving, not jockeying, as we say on FIFA and Sunday League football. He was going in for too many tackles. And yeah, I say it did cost us a lot. But the midfield, I say the first half was a more conventional pivot. The second half was kind of a lone kind of DM with 2 kind of attacking 8s in front of them. But I say the first half definitely worked out better for us. And Danny Drinkwater should definitely be given more minutes in pre-season, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. As I said, I would like to see a little bit more of Danny Drinkwater in this particular preseason. But this show is not about Danny Drinkwater. We're going to talk about many other things right now. Thank you so much, Izzy, for this particular comment. Tammy could have had a hat-trick. Cho and Ziyech were on fire first half. Let's now talk about the player performances. This is going to be very, very interesting. I just want to take care of this particular super sticker. Thank you so much, Blues Cloud TV, once again with the super chat and the donation to the channel. Thank you heaps. Before we start talking about the player performances, guys, we've got over 120 live. Let's smash the like button. Let's get the likes over 100. If you're enjoying this, it's going to get very interesting now, talking about some of these players and figuring out where they sort of fit into this whole situation of things this season. So smash the like button, get the likes off the roof, well over 100. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. 7,000, that's the goal now. And check out my boys, their socials in the description. Don't forget to follow them. Honestly, if you're enjoying what you're seeing right now, go follow them, and you can do that on a regular basis. That's all I'm going to say. Jonathan, let's talk about some player performances, right? Let's start from the top. Tammy Abraham. I mean, look, it's preseason, and I don't want to absolutely hammer him, but I can't deny the fact that from my perspective, I saw 3 clear-cut probably 2, but 3 chances. 1 probably half a chance. There was one where I think Callum crossed it in, nice, beautiful cross, and it was a good save. But I feel like from that particular position, you need to finish, my man. There was another Callum cross where he comes in with a header. And we all know Tammy's got massive aerial inabilities. He can't seem to put the headers away for such a tall guy. You need to bang the headers in. That's your bread and butter. And I think there was another ball that Ziyech put through nicely. opened him up, and he could have gone crossfield. I remember similar position last season. Mount got that ball from Jorginho, and he did the half turn, took the Porto player out, and then he cross hit it and he went in. On the contrary, let's talk about both of these players together. Armando Broja comes in, gets one chance, and puts it in. Yeah, there was some luck involved, but I thought he was very lively. I mean, I completely understand, and this is his third goal in the preseason, by the way. He scored 2 goals in the other 2 matches as well. I completely understand why Thomas Tuchel wants this kid to stick around in this particular squad, whether it be the third choice striker or whatnot, whether we're going to get Haaland, I'm not sure. Whatever the case is, apparently we've fended off many clubs so far for a loan move for him to stay. I mean, what do you see between the 2 players? How are you feeling? I know it's just the one match that we've seen so far, but what's your thoughts so far on these 2 players?
Broja played like the kind of striker Chelsea have had success with. And I said this on a previous stream.
Hang on.
And you probably thought I would say this, to be fair. The Costa, the Drogba, the strong hold-up play. I've seen it in the comments. I've seen it from the commentary on the game as well. Hold-up play, bringing other players in, just looking stronger and obviously finishing your chances, which is exactly what Broja did. I mean, if he was sitting on the bench first half thinking, what can I do second half to impress Thomas Tuchel, that was probably what he was thinking.
That was it.
Done. I mean, even that bit where he chased down the keeper really well, which again, English fans, they love that sort of thing, especially fans that attend games. So little things like that, he's really put the effort into today. I'd say someone like Gallagher maybe tried a bit too hard. That's why it wasn't really his game today. But Broja came in second half, a breath of fresh air. Look,
just
third
composed.
Striker, yeah, definitely. I mean, look, he had a couple of seconds for that goal he scored. The ball came in, he was onside. It kind of bounced. He won't get that time in the Premier League. Maybe in the Championship, which obviously Bournemouth are now playing in. But would he have got that in the Premier League? Maybe not. He needed to be a little bit more clinical. But the fact he scored, put it away, says a lot about his character. As I said, I thought he did really well, energetic, led the line really well with a less dominant striker in Ugbo. But yeah, I mean, if I look at all of my little notes that I did for the first half, it's Tammy Abraham miss. And I'll caveat the issues because I think he was getting slated a lot on social media. And obviously, Broja was a complete opposite, which is why he was getting praised. Abraham got in the positions that he needed to be in, which he hasn't always done at Chelsea. I mean, fair enough. Some games he's missed 2-3 chances, and then someone like Giroud's come on and scored, which is exactly what happened with Broja today. And we've all gone, this is why Giroud's in the squad. He takes his chances. We had 29 expected goals last year in the Premier League, and I think we scored 20. I saw a stat like that on Twitter today. We need to score more goals. So the fact that Abraham's getting in the positions is fantastic, but he didn't put them away. I mean, the first one was across from Hudson-Odoi. It was a bit of a snap one. It was a deflected and it went straight at the keeper. Finally got a foot on it. There was one where I think Abraham was quite unlucky. Not the header. The header was, he needs to get that on target. He needs to get over it a little bit more. Like you said earlier, his aerial threat isn't what it should be. But there was one where I think again, you alluded to it, where Ziyech put him in. He didn't shoot. Instead of putting it across the keeper, I think he came back and then allowed Ziyech to shoot. Why? I didn't quite understand that. So I just think, again, maybe he's eager to impress, but it's early pre-season, and the fact that he was getting in the positions, maybe the finishing will come with time, because he has been. I think he's one of the first players back because he didn't go on international duty. He
was out of 3. He was the first 3 back.
Yeah, hopefully there's more to come from Abraham, and I think being the first game that fans have really had access to, it wasn't the best kind of outcome for him, and obviously Broja coming on and doing what he did isn't great for him. But it's great to see someone like Broja really thriving. But look, as I said just a minute ago, and I kind of went off topic, third striker Broja, as much as it's great for Chelsea, maybe selfishly, that I think it would be great for Broja to be our third striker. He needs to go and play games. He will get stronger. He will be even better in terms of hold up. His link up play will be better. There was a time, and I think, again, Pat Nevin mentioned it, where he could have played Zappacosta and wasn't too confident in playing the ball, and then took a couple of touches and then lost the ball. He didn't lose the ball much, and he did really well. But there's just little parts of his game where if he goes maybe a top kind of Championship club or maybe lower end Premier League club, he'll be able to fine tune those, because I don't think him being a third striker for Chelsea is really useful. And I never thought I'd say this, but Batshuayi could be the third striker that be the solution. He's happy to just sit on the bench and play on the very odd occasion. If we can bring in another striker, I think Batshuayi might be the solution. I never thought I'd say that, to be honest. But yeah, I think Broja needs to go out on loan. Really impressed with him today. I want to see him in another couple of pre-seasons games. But yeah, completely contrast between the strikers, and just nice to see one or both of our strikers in the second half actually get a goal.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think there were some rumours about Batshuayi earlier today that he may be going to that Turkish club. I mean,
Trabzonspor, I think it was, or something
like that.
Yeah,
Trabzonspor. Look, from his perspective, he probably wants to play. I don't know whether he truly wants to be a third choice. I don't know. He's still fairly young. I think he's 25, 26. It's not like he's on the way, down in his age. So I don't know. Look, if he stays as a third choice, honestly, I do understand what you're saying, Jonathan, that from a footballing point of view, from a development point of view, send Broja out on a loan and get those minutes under his belt. But it could be the scenario where it could be that Billy Gilmore sort of situation, that stay one season with us, get the feel, and you're only 19, 20. I don't think he's even 20 yet, Broja, or he could be 20. I'm not really sure. But he's young nonetheless. Maybe stick around. If someone like Haaland comes in, along with Havertz and whatnot, get to learn that, get that experience under your belt to be in and around the first team, and then go on a championship loan and kill it, if that's what's going to happen, just similar to Billy. But I completely understand. There's different ways to look at this whole situation, Jonathan. Taryn, I want to get your point of view, but before I do that, I want to bring out, because I feel like that Broja movement, and I want to obviously get your thoughts on Tammy as well. Broja was somewhere here, and I think Ugbo was sort of there, and then Baba Rahman whips in. Baba Rahman whipped in a really, really good ball there. And sort of in this sort of situation, Baba Rahman whips in the ball, nicely falls for Broja, but as Jonathan said, Broja had a bit of time in his hand, but nonetheless still had to put it away. Got a bit lucky with the shot that I think hit the defender or maybe the keeper and then went in. Nonetheless, it still went in. I mean, well, how do you see those two performances, Tammy's and Broja's? Do you feel like if we can't seem to offload Tammy away, I mean, do you still try your best to keep him, or do you find a loan move for Tammy somewhere and keep someone like Broja, or do you let Broja go on a loan and then keep Tammy? That's if we can't get a striker. And the other question that I want to ask you, do you feel after seeing that match that there is a reason, and I think Jonathan sort of alluded on the fact that the expected goals from last season, what we should have scored and what we didn't, that we definitely need a striker this season as well?
Yeah, I'll start with the kind of Tammy and Broja kind of debate first of all. I mean, I think the Tammy criticism on football Twitter especially is really harsh. And yes, he had a very poor game in the finishing department, but I felt like he was really eager to impress there. He was chasing after balls left, right, and centre. He was really trying to hold up the ball. There was one instance where he dropped really deep, held up the ball and played a beautiful pass out to Hudson-Odoi and allowed him to kind of dribble, made a ball into the box. And he's getting into the positions which, a few months ago, we weren't really seeing. At the start of Tuchel's era with the Southampton game, with the Newcastle game, even the Barnsley game where he did get the goal in the end, we didn't really see him, busting a gut to get into those positions. But today he got in there for the Hudson-Odoi cross. I mean, it was a very good save from the goalkeeper. I think his name's Travers. And, the header, I think the header, he should have scored that. Again, the chance where you guys kind of alluded to, where he kind of got it from a tight angle, I think to pass to Ziyech on that left foot where he could have curled that top bins easily, it was kind of a smart decision in the end. But, he did miss 3 chances. If we had Erling Haaland there, I mean, this is a bit premature. If we had a Haaland or Lukaku, any of these other big names, it definitely would have been at least 2 goals there, in my opinion.
That's the thing, isn't it, Taryn? Like a lethal striker out of that 3 at least puts 1 away, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And that could take us, from 3 points to 1 point in a game. That could take us to even a Premier League title, to a top, second place finish. So, goals are what win you games in the end. And when you miss chances like that, it's not great. But, I do think it's a bit harsh, all the criticism on Tammy. It was a good performance. I do think at times it did look like he was a bit too eager to kind of score. He was rushing his shots a bit too much. If he was in confidence, he would have been composed. He would have taken away, a few of them chances and got the goals. Think back to Aston Villa days. Think back to the start of the Lampard era when he was scoring goals, left, right, and centre. Think back to the Wolves game where he was easily scoring that hat-trick easily. And, but I do think he was a bit too eager. He had to take his chance today for Thomas Tuchel. He's watching, all the coaches are watching, even different scouts and different clubs are watching. He had to take his chance today. And, it did look a bit too eager. But Armando Broja today, honestly, I know it's just one game, but I've seen a lot from him today that a lot of people can be very excited by.
You bigged up Broja as well previously. You bigged him up previously as well.
Yeah, I've said from his loan at the test, he got some very, very good goals. We think back to Mason Mount, who had a very good time for test. Maybe not, Nathan, who played for Chelsea before, the Brazilian midfielder, but Mason Mount did have a good time at the test. And Broja in this game, even his dribbling, when he's dribbling with the ball, his composure to pass, to make passes, to hold up the play with such ease, to take defenders. Lloyd Kelly, who's a big defender, he was holding up so well and letting the other players come into the game. And that finish, a lot of people are saying he had too much time, but if you see, he kind of checked his run, then made his movement into the box. It was a really clever kind of move to allow the space for himself, and he got the goal. It was a deflection, but it was a good goal. And I think Broja today, hopefully he plays against Arsenal and against Tottenham, because I think if Tammy starts the next game, it is very unfair on Broja. He, in my opinion, when you think of the team, when we were 1-0 down, we had Ugbo, Broja up front, we had a 6-6, we had a 8-8 kind of pivot. Where the goal's going to kind of come from? And Broja stepped up big time and got the goal in the end to help us get back into the game. So, yeah, I was very, very impressed by Broja. And your question about the striker, it's difficult because I don't think there's many strikers who we can really go for at the minute that would really come to Chelsea. My first choice is Harry Kane. I don't think it's going to happen at all, but I would really like to see Harry Kane, with his goals and assist output for Tottenham. But I think we do really need to prioritise a striker after we sign the player that Jonathan mentioned earlier. We really have to prioritise that over a wing-back, over Declan Rice. You can see today we're still creating the chances, but the finishing is just not there. Even if we have Havertz and Timo Werner and Abraham, we still need someone who's going to put the ball into the net.
Like Taryn, that's a game we should be up at halftime 3-0. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if he had
created enough
striker,
chances.
Exactly, and that's the only thing that's missing in this Thomas Tuchel kind of rotational kind of conveyor belt at the minute is the goals. And I don't think it's as easy as just we need a goal scorer. We could just get him Batshuayi or someone else, but we need someone who can press well, who can close down players, who can open up the space, who can link up play, and that's very hard. But yeah, I do think we do need to prioritise a striker and put all the money into Haaland or Harry Kane.
No, absolutely. The Beautiful Game is saying Zuma-Kane swap. There is rumours that Spurs are after Zuma. I wouldn't mind that if they're ready to do a business. Why not? But I highly doubt that would ever happen. I don't even know if Zuma would even entertain going to Spurs. But this comment here from Brent Smith, I don't think it's harsh, Taryn. We criticise Timo and does way more off the ball. Tammy pretty much has one job. Taryn, his favourite player is Timo. And I just want to say one thing. I did notice quite a lot of chaos in the social media, and I do understand what Taryn's saying, that there was some harsh criticism, but I think if you take away the harsh criticism and look at the people that are actually criticizing normally about Tammy, there were a lot of people that were talking about, Timo does the same thing and he gets support, Tammy doesn't. I don't know, where are they living? Timo got battered last season. Ask Taryn, ask Jonathan. Every time we'd come here and Timo would miss, Taryn would literally hide. I don't know where people are getting this whole ideology that, Timo was getting backed and supported. No, he got ripped apart in the fan base for missing those chances. So don't try and make anything. I remember the fan base going mad that Tammy wasn't getting the minutes under Thomas Tuchel. There was a lot of chaos that Tammy wasn't getting the minutes. There was a divide in the fan base. So I don't understand all of a sudden where people talking critically about Tammy Abraham, all of a sudden they feel a bit sad and they want to now look at Timo, how he gets support. No, man. Honestly, Timo did not get enough support. He probably should have at times got a little bit more support, but he did not get enough. At the end of the day, the striker's there to score goals, and if you're going to miss it, you're going to be talked about. That's the crazy part of this particular situation. All right, let's talk about a few other player performances. Guys, we've got over 200 people live. Let's get the likes up to well above 100. Let's go to 150. Come on, guys. If you're enjoying this, let's do that. As Come On You Blues TV has just said nearly 200 people watching. Smash the like button straight away. Check out the boys and their socials in the description, especially Taryn's Perfect Hat-Trick podcast. The link is there, guys. Go and follow Taryn on that particular podcast. All right, Jonathan, let's talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi. For me, standout performance. I think you've mentioned as well, standout performance. He's looking fire, man. He's taking players on. Once again, caveat here, preseason, Bournemouth, I understand. I get it. I'm not going to get too gassed up about it, but I like what I'm seeing. The confidence, the pace, that explosive pace seems to have come back. He's looking like the player that we kind of saw under Sarri. He was looking electric, and honestly, he should have got an assist from one of those Tammy chances. And this is the thing. We need our players like Ziyech, and we're going to talk about Ziyech as well. These players need to get rewarded with that assist. And when they don't get that assist, an assist will lift their levels up a lot more. They're going to feel a lot more confident. I mean, Jonathan, what do you think about Callum Hudson-Odoi and moving into the next season? Are you confident about this particular player?
100%. I don't know how much he'll be used at right wing back next season, but I was really, really fascinated to see how him and Ziyech worked. I thought they interchanged really nicely. Obviously, they linked up really well. 3 chances I think they created for Abraham. And even Pulisic they put in a few times, switched it to Alonso. So I was really, really impressed. And as I said, standout player by a million miles for me. I think there was a comment just a minute ago about his acceleration. It takes quite a long time to come back from an Achilles injury because that's where you get your burst of pace. There's quite a few times where last season you thought, take the player on, take the man on, and he wasn't as confident or he didn't quite have the boost because of the injury previously. It's been a couple of years now. He's obviously had a nice pre-season under his belt with no international duty. A lot of people have been saying he's been really sharp and looking fit in training. I think today was a perfect example of that. There was one, obviously, which created the Tammy chance where he hit at the keeper, where he took the player on. And I know, again, it's pre-season, but just that burst of pace is back. The fact that he wanted to take players on, he was crossing, he was allowing Ziyech to then, when he overlapped, to then come inside on his left foot. The only criticism I'd have at times is sometimes, Ziyech is pretty much always going to come inside on his left foot, and the defender knows that. If you overlap every single time, it gives Ziyech the opportunity to surprise the defender because the defender then thinks, am I going to go Hudson-Odoi or am I going to go Ziyech? If you don't overlap Ziyech, it's very, very predictable. So in times like that, and this will come with time, and playing with different players in different positions because he may not always play right wing back. Ziyech may not always be right wing, but I would have just thought, let me overlap every time. Even though I don't think I'm going to get the ball, it gives Ziyech the opportunity.
I'm loving what you're saying. This is exactly what Ryan said the other day.
Yeah, so I think with Ziyech, whoever's playing on the other side of him, because he's always going to come back, whilst I want to see Ziyech going on his right foot, surprise, maybe drive, it's not really his game. He's strong on that left-hand side. So the right wing-back, whoever plays there this season, if we play in that position, whether it's Azpilicueta, Reece James or Hudson-Odoi, all I ask is that they get past him because Ziyech showed a couple of times today, not always. Again, it's pre-season. He's not quite up to scratch, but he showed that he can put that ball in. So I was really impressed with him today as well. So Pulisic wasn't as... I don't think I saw enough of him. There was a few times he took a few really nice runs and he got a couple of fouls and a few times he got hit by the defenders and it wasn't a foul. But I want to see a little bit more from Pulisic. But I think that will come with games. And as I said, this was all about 45 minutes of just getting numbers or minutes in your legs. So, I was really, really impressed with Hudson-Odoi. As I said, standout player. But on the other side of the coin, I want to see him play left wing because I want to see him with Ben Chilwell or Marcus Alonso, whoever plays in the left wing back role, overlap and allow him to cut inside. Because when he does, he can shoot. He's really not that confident on his left foot. And he doesn't look like he's going to shoot on his right from those positions because obviously the angle. So I want to see Hudson-Odoi in pre-season in the Arsenal-Tottenham game, play on that left-hand side to allow him to come inside. Let's see what he can do. We need to have players that are versatile. If you have Ziyech on the right and Hudson-Odoi on the left, they're both going to cut in. If you switch it, Ziyech is going to cross on the left, Hudson-Odoi is going to cross on the right. So depending on the striker that we have, we need different options. We can't just play Pulisic left wing or Hudson-Odoi right wing. We need to switch it up because not only does that confuse players, but it gives us different options. Instead of just being kind of a one-trick pony, which we were at times last season, where we just kept putting the ball in the box, which is a little bit what we did at times in the first half, which obviously Abraham didn't take advantage of. But I just want to see us switch it up a little bit, whether it's, the right wing back and the left wing back switching, overlapping, underlapping. I just want to see us mix it up. But to be honest, really, really good positive start. Obviously, the first was probably better than the second, despite us scoring 2 goals in the second half. But yeah, a lot more promising from Hudson-Odoi, and I do hope he continues that in pre-season and obviously into the start of the season as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, I want to touch on what you just said in the middle in regards to Callum playing as a right wing back, and I want to go and see what Taryn has to say about this. Taryn, I had Ryan a few days ago, and he absolutely blew my mind in regards to how you get the best out of Ziyech in this particular formation. Because I asked him, how's Ziyech going to fit in? Because everyone talks about this, and Jonathan just touched on it as well. Ziyech naturally starts, obviously, in this particular area. Yeah. But in order to get the best out of him, you need, because you know what he's going to do from this area. He's going to come in. And if you don't have a right wing back that's going to gallop down the track and go into these areas, as Jonathan said, Ziyech becomes very predictable if it's just like that. He needs the option. When the situation becomes like this, he can either lay the ball to Cho and Cho goes on an overlap. He can either take the man on and cut in these sort of areas, or he can either look for passes from this area to then find players on this side. So he becomes unbelievable once you have that player that overlaps. And this is probably one of the reasons why last season we did not get that purchase from that right side where a player is going to bomb up. We did see Callum do that every now and then. Most of the times Callum did play more of a right winger as opposed to a right wing back. But the thing about right wing back, you do need to gallop back as well and help out in defense off the ball. You got to create that sort of 5-man in defense. And this is where sometimes I suppose Callum doesn't have that know-how yet, and he's not an out-and-out right wing back. I completely understand what Jonathan's saying, that him playing as a left back is his natural position. But I don't mind this, man. I really don't mind, because I feel like he's quite electric on the right side. I mean, Taryn, from your perspective, how do you see that performance from Callum Hudson-Odoi and the link up with Ziyech as well?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you, Ryan, Jonathan, you all mentioned it really well. We saw it with kind of Reece James last season when Ziyech was coming in against Sheffield United, against, the first 2 games that he was playing for us. Ziyech would come in, Reece James would overlap. Them two would link up really nice. They had a great connection. It'd either be Reece James running in behind it, or it'd be Ziyech cutting in, when he got them few assists against Sheffield United. And that kind of was when I saw the best of Ziyech at Chelsea, was when he could cut inside or he could play out wide. And this system right now, when there's no one overlapping, like you guys said, he could come on his right foot, but then he kind of gets out-muscled, he gets taken out of the game. Yep. Or he comes on his left, and there'll be another defender to cover, to kind of block or take him out of the game. And I say that's what happened last season when Tuchel came in. Ziyech, there was no one really overlapping. Reece James would kind of be that role where he'd kind of be dropping in to, allow the other players to overlap, and Chilwell would kind of be the one going forward. So there was never really kind of a link-up that would allow Ziyech to kind of reach the best of his potential in game. I mean, out wide as well is when I've seen him at against Valencia for Ajax, when he was whipping the balls in. Even at Stamford Bridge, when we drew 4-4, Ziyech out wide would play those amazing switch balls. Like today, even the ball to Abraham, where he kind of chipped in, it was a beautiful way at the pass. But then you need someone else kind of to make the run inside. And Hudson-Odoi today, I'd say it was kind of blossoming a little bit, where them two were interchanging quite well. Yeah. One of them would go in the middle, one of them would go out wide, one of them would kind of, make the interchangeable runs. And there was kind of a connection blossoming, but I feel like there does always need to be an overlap and run for Ziyech when he's in the middle, when he's kind of in there, because it does get really, really predictable. And the last thing we need when we have a player with that kind of left foot, that kind of, I say wizardry kind of ability, is predictability. We need him to always be having the time and space for getting the shots away, always having the time to kind of whip the balls to the back post, like we saw to Quincy Promes, to David Neres, or to be whipping the balls into, the top corner. Yeah. So to get the best out of Hakim Ziyech, we need to have someone overlapping. Or, I mean, you even mentioned the kind of 5-back system. Is that going to kind of, stop him from getting the best out of him? But I don't think it will. When we have Hudson-Odoi going forward to overlap, we have one in the pivot to kind of drop in and cover the space Hudson-Odoi will lead. Whether in a 4-at-the-back system under Lampard when he first came in, whatever pivot where, the wing-backs would kind of be going forward anyways, and it'd kind of leave us with kind of an overlapping time at the back. We saw with Pedro Neto for Wolves.
Just on that, Taryn, and it's not even the pivot. I think because the whole formation shifts. So if you got Callum bombing forward, someone like Sterling could push up and cover that. And then and it basically just shifts a little bit to the right. You basically
Exactly,
create an overload on the right side, and then you allow this particular player to really take advantage of all of this space here. And this is once again switch ball, and this is perfect when Ziyech he can then start aiming for player on this side. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you can have players coming into the box. So this is the thing: the three at the back, it can be so explosive, and this is where Sterling, he can either play as a wing back or as a right centre back. And I know he's a backup, and we're going to talk about Sterling as well down the track. I was fairly impressed with him. I can understand why he would be a backup, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a drink water that covers for that position. It could possibly be a Sterling that just shifts up.
Yeah, no, that's a great point as well. But I feel like for a right centre back in this role, we need a right centre back who's also comfortable to be like a makeshift right back at times. We kind of, Andreas Christensen, who can be a very, very comfortable centre back. We need someone like Azpilicueta, who's played under Sarri and Mourinho. We need someone like Reece James, who can play there, to a very good ability. And, someone who can kind of make use of that right side opportunities. Hakim Ziyech, like you showed in that image there, he won't be that deep. He will be a little bit further up the pitch. So that leaves room for, the right centre-back to bomb forward even more. It can allow Drinkwater to kind of push in to cover that, which, we could see Declan Rice even do if we sign him next season for Chelsea. And then, that even allows Ziyech, when he picks up there, like you mentioned with Chilwell on the left, a beautiful opportunity for a switch ball to happen. There's so many different kind of dimensions and opportunities in that kind of role. And that makes me wonder why we didn't see Ziyech doing this more for Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel last season. Was it a lack of time on the training pitch?
I think it's got to do with the right wing back, bro. I think the right wing back just not being confident enough to bomb up.
Yeah, I think Thomas Tuchel's had more time pre-season to maybe work on that more, as we've seen today. Obviously, in the season, he didn't have time to kind of get all the connections right. He just had to get the wins on the ball. But now he's having time to work on that connection with Ziyech, to get the best out of his game. Because to be honest, when you have Ziyech at the best of his game, performing the best, you have, for me, one of the best wingers in world football. So for me, it's just about getting all the different dimensions and connections around the pitch. The switch balls, the little link-ups in the middle, and we have a real world-class wing on our hands and some great attacking moves to flourish.
No, absolutely. Quick one-line answer from both of you guys. Do you guys still want a right wing back? I mean, I feel like we were in for Hakimi. It didn't happen, obviously. We were sort of rumoured with Adama Traore. I'm not really sure what's happening with that. There's not been any talks. Happy with Azpilicueta, Reece James, Callum Hudson-Odoi, possibly Dujon Sterling as a backup to all of that. The right-sided, you got the right CB, the right wing back. That right wing back is very important. I'll go to you, Jonathan. One-line answer quickly. Do you want to go into the market to get a right wing back, or you're happy to stick it out with who we've got so far? And the live chat as well.
Not needed.
Who's going to be your right wing back next season?
I think you've got to switch it up between James and obviously Hudson-Odoi. If he continues this sort of form, James won't go forward as much. As for the Quetta, in a game where we need to be a little bit more solid defensively. So I think you need different horses, different courses. So I think having those three options, whether Sterling stays or not, I wouldn't want to put my name on, or I wouldn't want to say just one. I think you've got to adapt to whoever the opposition is. And those three have different qualities for different kind of games. If you want to attack players or if you want to attack teams, let's say a Burnley, a Newcastle at home, Hudson-Odoi. Away from home, big European game, tough Man City, Liverpool away. You go with Azpilicueta maybe, and then obviously James right centre back. Or if even any sort of game, I'd say James can play because he can go forward and back. So he's more the one that in the middle that can do both. But yeah, more defensive Azpilicueta, more attacking Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, fair enough. Taryn, happy with whoever we've got, or are you going in the market?
If we sign Jules Koundé, then yes, I'm happy with it. But if not, then, I do think we might have to go with Adama Traore or someone, because I don't think I know this isn't a one-line answer, sorry guys, but I don't think Hudson-Odoi is maybe the best to play as a right wing-back. We've seen even the Peterborough game, those talks have been playing really well as a left inverted forward. So, I do think if we sign Jules Koundé, I'm happy with Reece James, Dujon Sterling and Azpilicueta kind of fighting that out. But if not, I do think we have to go in there, for Adama Traore or Denzel Dumfries.
No, fair enough, man. I think the live chat is a bit of mixed as well. Some saying that Cho's not a right wing back. Some saying perhaps. Some are still asking for Adama Traore. Okay, Taryn, I'll go to you this one. As we've said, both Cho and Ziyech, I thought definitely had very good games. Cho, obviously, the standout. Ziyech, I didn't think had a bad game either. I thought he was quite decent for the 45 minutes. Tam, let's talk about Christian Pulisic. Once again, don't want to be too critical here. I know Jonathan's already laid on that particular player a little bit. The live chat has said that. I've seen someone say, "Oh, he was a ghost." I mean, I don't want to be too critical. For me, it's very important that Pulisic stays fit and slowly builds up. But I have to say, I did not notice him this game. Like, I don't think, for me, he was at all anything that was eye-catching. His dribbles weren't there either. I don't think his passing he caught my eye. He was there. He's getting some minutes under his belt. He's getting fit, which is fine. How'd you take his performance, man?
Yeah, very disappointed, to be honest, with his performance today. I was expecting a lot more, especially against Stacey at right back, who's not a very conventional. He prefers to go forward more than defending. So I was expecting a lot more from Pulisic, especially in the left and third forward position, where we've seen the best of him. Whereas under Lampard, under Tuchel, we've seen, on the right wing, he's not been as utilised as on the left. And today, there was a few runs, like we were mentioning earlier in the stream, where he got taken out a few times. He got fouled a few times where he just fell over to win a foul. But, I was expecting a lot more from him. He's come off that kind of Gold Cup kind of win with the United States. He's had a few, I say 3-4 weeks kind of with Thomas Tuchel. He was one of the first to arrive back with training with Hudson-Odoi and Abraham. He's had a lot of time to work with Tuchel even more to learn what he wants. I was expecting a lot more of him today, maybe even a goal and assist, especially the pass from Hudson-Odoi, a beautiful pass that really outlines his technical ability. He could have taken a touch, ran in behind, taken Travers in a 1-on-1. But, it was a very laboured touch. He kind of brought it backwards, played into Abraham, who, we talked about. I believe that was a Ziyech chance where he whipped it wide. So, yeah, today it was a very, very disappointing performance. I'm not going to lie, from Pulisic. It's the first game in pre-season against Bournemouth. Not the first game, but our first kind of, major game in pre-season. You can't really expect a world-class kind of amazing performance that you can see from Pulisic. But in the Arsenal game, in the Tottenham game, I'm going to expect a lot more of him. If he's not playing well in them two games, then from the start of the season, I'm even going to put Hudson-Odoi ahead of him in the pecking order, in my opinion, in the left divide forward role for next season. And, Timo Werner still to come back. We still have Havertz who can play that role. Obviously, Mason Mount who can play that role very well. So I say Pulisic really needs to step his game up, or else there's many players in the pecking order who can come, and even new signings, if we could sign anyone new who could get ahead of him. So, it's not as easy. Pulisic might think that, he's the captain of America. He's played amazing in the past. He's a starter in this team for sure. But no, we have a lot of players who can come ahead of him, and a lot of players who can take him out of the team and put him on the bench, even the reserves. So, he needs to perform better in these preseason games, and hopefully he can, because as best for me, one of the best wingers in the league, and he can really rip most defensive apart in Europe.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I similar to you, disappointed with his performance today. But for me, as I said, I want to see what he does against Arsenal, Spurs. Very important he stays fit. Jonathan, what do you think about this particular comment here from Shamina Sultana saying Pulisic looked worse because of Alonso? Let's be honest. Let's talk about both those players in tandem. Alonso, for me, I mean, I can't believe. I know Emerson is more marketable, and that's why he's getting those offers from Italy and whatnot. Maybe Alonso not that marketable, but there is links. I think there was links with Inter Milan. But it's the same old Alonso. Do you know what I mean? Like lethargic, not that quick. When you see someone like Callum on the other side, so quick, helping out Ziyech. Pulisic, let's be honest, doesn't always seem to get the purchase on that left side. That option like Ziyech sometimes gets. If there was an overlapping left wing back, you can lay the ball to them as well. It just provides another option. Chilwell allows for that. What would you take into this particular comment, man?
Bit harsh. Look, Alonso's popped up when we needed him quite a few times. I think he's obviously someone that will probably accept being the second wing back. Emerson looks like a bit more likely to leave, to be honest. And again, obviously, thanks for that chat. I keep looking at the comments and being put off because some nice comments in there. But yeah, I think, look, Alonso, we know exactly what he's been. He's been at Chelsea for quite a while now. We don't expect things from people that they're clearly not.
Come on, Jonathan. I want to expect. It could be a different Alonso.
I know the limitations of all these players. And Alonso for me is someone that will pop up with the odd goal, can play against the weaker teams, or let's say the bottom half of the league, and put in a good performance. He's playing today because it's pre-season, just like other players, drink water, etc. So I don't see, I'm not going to read too much into it because I don't think you can say Pulisic was bad because of Alonso. Alonso did exactly what we expected of Alonso. I think Pulisic just needs some more game time. So yeah, Alonso maybe could have got a bit more forward, maybe got into this sort of left forward role a bit more, but that again doesn't really have much impact on Pulisic. So didn't expect anything different from Alonso tonight in the 45 minutes or so, or 60 minutes that he played. I don't expect anything different for the duration of his Chelsea career. So I think sometimes at players at that sort of the end of their career, we just have to understand their use. And if Tuchel thinks there's no use for him, you sell him or you loan him. If he finds a use, you keep him. But I think Emerson's a bit more marketable. Obviously, Inter Milan, as you said, were maybe a little bit more suitable but because of the financial issues. Yeah, I don't think, as I said, he will move, and I think he'll be the backup wing back because he's completely different to Chilwell. So there's no harm in having a better defensive left wing back and a more attacking one.
Yeah, man. Look, where Alonso worries me, and you're absolutely right, Jonathan. It is a different style of a wing back than Chilwell. Alonso is there to just literally be one of the attackers, to be honest. But it's the defensive side because as a wing back, you do need off the ball. You have to drop back at times and help out the defense, and he's just not quick enough to do that. That's what worries me the most. The beautiful game, Alonso is a year older, and he ain't getting any better. Trust me. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel as well, guys. We've got over 200 people live once again, guys. Smash the like button, get it all the way up to 200. Let's get over the 100. We were literally 10 away from 100, so let's do that straight away. And if you're here for the first time as well, subscribe. I can already see the subscription increasing. I think we've just hit 6.1k as well. So keep that up if you're enjoying this, and check out the boys and their socials in the description right now. Jonathan, let's talk about the middle few players. We've touched on Danny Drink. We're not going to talk too much about that. But Conor Gallagher, from a different style, we've talked about his performance. I think it's probably going to be a loan again, isn't it? And I don't want to base it all on this particular match, but I mean, there were some moments where it just a bit of rush of blood, bit of inexperience. But then again, I think second half we'll put him into the deep end as a sort of like deepest midfielder that needs to control. With the ball, you need to be able to have the quick passes, the long range passes, and to be able to control the possession. And without the ball as well, you need to be able to know exactly when to step in and intercept and whatnot. As an 8, I think he has that down packed in the first half. He looked a lot more comfortable. For me personally, I don't know. I think probably another loan, and there's some rumours about him going to Crystal Palace or Leeds. What's your perspective on Conor Gallagher?
100% loan. I mean, look, Gilmour wanted to play more games. Who's better? I'd say Billy Gilmour out of the two. So I get why maybe Gallagher could fit a purpose in the squad. But again, just like with Broja, his development is not going to really, in my opinion, sitting on the bench for Chelsea isn't really going to help him. So I think just from what I've seen tonight, and as you said, I don't want to base it off tonight. I know it's fitness. He's not sharp as he could be, but he was asked to play 2 different roles. I think he was a lot more comfortable in a role that he's played through all of his loan spells. But yeah, he needs to learn. In that position in the Chelsea side, the two that we play in midfield in the formation that we played last season, it's so important that we have control. We don't have a rush of blood, that we make sure that we keep our positions. And Gallagher, and there's nothing against him because it's just natural for him. He wants to go a bit more forward, and we can't really allow for that. So if we are going to play with a pivot, he's not quite ready for it. He's not as disciplined. And I think, as I said, he needs to learn his trade elsewhere. So whether that be a Premier League loan, which I think he would probably need, or maybe even a European loan in like a Spanish, German, I don't know, another top European league. But he definitely needs to go on loan, in my opinion. I don't see the point of him sitting on the bench because he's certainly not ahead of your Kovacic, your Kante, your Jorginho. And then maybe one of the other ones that were on the pitch today, maybe another one. We may buy someone. So I just think, again, for his development, which I like to try and always bring into the argument, it's best for him to go out on loan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. I have to agree. I think the key conversation here is that there are other midfielders in our squad that are miles ahead of him. Your Kovacic, Kante's, Jorginho, even Mason if he drops into midfield. The other player that people are talking about, Ibsy, thank you so much for joining the live chat, my man, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And we'll talk about a few other players. I do want to talk about Sterling, as I said, which is interesting. But Taryn, I mean, Ruben, for me, had an okay second half. I wouldn't say he was absolutely blockbuster. There was moments where he took the ball and he drove nicely through the midfield. That's exactly what I've been advocating as well, that I like Ruben playing a little bit deeper so he can take the ball and run with it and then lay the passes. I remember there was a drive and then he laid the pass to whether it was Zappacosta or Callum Hudson-Odoi, I can't really remember, but there were moments where he did that kind of maneuver a few times. But he's another player that could possibly play as an inside forward if we continue with the three at the back, and it looks like we probably will be. That's what we've been doing. But even in midfield, if we do switch to at times where we play two up front with 5 in the midfield, along with the wing backs, Ruben Loftus-Cheek could be an option in midfield as well, ahead of Conor Gallagher. How do you see his performance, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's performance?
Yeah, I think the perfect word to sum up is okay. I mean, there was nothing really to in the live chat. A lot of people saying that he was, better than Ndombele. He had an amazing performance today, but I don't really think he was amazing. Yeah, I don't think he was really amazing today. There's a few instances where he could have drove with the players like the old Loftus-Cheek, but we could go back to that Achilles injury, losing all that power and pace that he once had. It's really unfair on him, but today, I mean, he lost the ball a few times in the attack from what I saw today. He wasn't really driving players enough as I want. I mean, when he dropped into the pivot, he definitely did control a lot more in his strength.
Also, off the ball, Taryn, I don't know off the ball if he had enough intensity in defense and whatnot. And that could be because of fitness. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, today, I don't think I was too impressed by Loftus-Cheek. That's just because of my expectations that I have of him. And I know that's unfair that people kind of think like that, but from what I've seen of him under Sarri, and I know that was like 2-3 years ago, but how good he was under Sarri, driving through Man City, being an absolute monster. I expect so much of Loftus-Cheek. Every time I see him on that Chelsea shirt, I want him to rip past players. I want him to drive. I want him to use his amazing technical ability, shoot, pass, all of that. But today, I do think he is, like this comment says perfectly, he is playing with the handbrake on. He's in gear 3 or 4. Is that how manual cars work? I drive an automatic. I don't know. That kind of gear 3 or 4.
Gear 3 and 4 is quite quick, bro.
Gear 2. Gear 2. Gear 2. That is the one. Thank you, Jonathan, for the hand impressions. But yeah, I mean, it does look like he's a little bit holding back. And we want him to be. There was an interview recently with the Chelsea kind of TV with Hudson-Odoi where he was saying that he's feeling a lot more kind of exposed. It took him a year. He went out to Fulham. He had a loan to kind of get that match fitness back. And I would say he didn't even play enough as I would have liked to Fulham, obviously, but he's come back in this game. I wouldn't say if I was Thomas Tuchel that I've seen a player that is set to start next season, who's set to be in the squad, who's set to fight Kovac, Georgie and Kante. But, he does offer something different in the team. He is someone who will drive a lot more than Kovac, I'd say, in a more explosive way. He is more technically sound. He's not as erratic as Kovac. But from what I've seen of him today, I don't think I'm as impressed as I would have been. He's had a year to kind of get back from the injury, but this injury could take 3-4 even more years to get back to the old Loftus-Cheek. So from what I've seen today, it's not too impressive, but he is playing with the handbrake on, so we'll see what happens with Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, man, I'm in the same boat. There were glimpses of good sort of moments, but then there's a lot of work that still needs to be done with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and it's the preseason. It's the perfect time to do that. Henry is absolutely caps lock on. Dujon Sterling performance. We are going to talk about him very, very soon. I just want to quickly touch on Ross Barkley. Honestly, I don't think I saw enough of him besides that corner for Ugbo. Nice corner, and Ugbo was just unmarked and just tapped it in with his head. Kudos to him to get that goal. I think Ugbo's leaving as well. He's off to Anderlecht maybe, or one of the clubs in Belgium. We're going to get, I think, somewhere around...
Cercle Bruges.
Oh, Club Bruges, yeah. Mm. We're going to get a decent fee, I think, something around £5 million. So that's not bad. So if we can cash in on that, that's brilliant. I mean, don't quote me on it. I think I saw £5 million somewhere. So Ugbo is probably going to be gone. But yeah, Ross Barkley is not something that I really saw much of in this particular game. And he's going to be another one that's probably going to be leaving as well. I mean, if Ruben is penciled down as someone that Tuchel might keep, I can't see how Ross Barkley sticks around. And as we've already mentioned, Conor Gallagher probably deserves to go to another loan as well. Jonathan, let's now start talking about some of these players at the back. We touched on Sarr. You talked about Sarr initially. But Sterling, let's talk about Dujon Sterling. I liked what I saw. He's first time I'm getting to see Sterling. To be honest, I don't get to watch too much of this academy boys. I just don't get enough time to do it. But last season, I noticed that he was actually injured for quite a lot of time. He was on loan to a League One team. Can't remember exactly what team it is, but he barely featured. He's got a good physique for a right-sided player who's tipped to play as a right wing back, as a backup or a right back. Good size about him, has a bit of tenacity, gets into challenges and whatnot. Quite decent on the ball, quick as well, got good recovery. 21, so he's young. There's a lot of development still to happen. I do not mind the look of this particular player as a backup. I'm not advocating him to start. If Thomas Tuchel's really impressed, and this is what some of the reports are coming out from Football.London, Adam Newson has written quite a few nice stories about some of these academy boys, and Sterling being one of them. I don't mind him being as a backup. Well, what's your thoughts, Jonathan, as for Dujon Sterling?
I've just seen a bit in the comments about the rash tackle. I think you kind of alluded to it where he was a bit late. But the fact that he still went for it, I don't really mind. It's pre-season. You're not going to get booked. The fact that he committed to it, I don't have a problem. If you commit to every talent, to every single challenge and every single bit of play, you can't complain. So, yeah, I think you summed him up really well in terms of his tenacity, in terms of his physique, strong, quick. There's a couple of times where he wanted to take the man on, maybe should have passed, but was confident enough to take it on. So, I think Tuchel would have been fairly impressed with him. And I think, is he an option to maybe stay and learn off of Azpilicueta, James, and then maybe him and James fight it out for the next few years? Maybe so. Again, do I think he's probably best served getting a loan in a better club? Maybe. But I think if he can serve a purpose, I think with anything, as fans, we want what's best for the club. We want what's best for the players. But if you're the club right now, you're thinking, if we don't bring anyone else in, you might need a Sterling. If Hudson-Odoi is not on your right wing back plans, I think I would possibly play him there as well as a left wing, right wing. But if Hudson-Odoi is just here to experiment until we get our team back, you do need someone like Sterling, someone that can learn, that will play in some cup games. Learning off of Azpilicueta, Silva, and Reece James isn't too bad. So I think I was impressed with him today. I think he still needs a couple more games in pre-season again to show Tuchel what he can do. But I would like to see him stay. I'd like to see him get more game time. But we say this over the last few years, and in these, like Gilmore, for example, get 10 games. 10 games isn't great for your career. And that's the problem. And that's where you have to balance out the club's selfish, not being selfish, but they have to think about themselves. And Tuchel's got to think. And I was thinking this when the game's gone. You want 23, 22 players in your squad. He's probably got 17, 18 of them named, on a board right now, and he's filling in the other positions. Does Sterling maybe creep into that 23? Possibly, but it depends on your transfer activity and where you see other players. So I think he is one of those players that will be looked at extensively, like Broja, and then a decision will be made in a couple of games' time when everyone's come back and when we know where our squad is for the rest of the season. So I don't want to rule Sterling out, but again, I feel like a loan would be better. But I just want to divert away to the Barkley and Ross and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, because two players I've not been the biggest advocates for. And it's no disrespect to Loftus-Cheek. He's clearly, obviously, the injury affected him, his lack of game time in his last two loans. But for me, yes, he was more disciplined and looked good today. But all these comments on Twitter, on the live chat, saying he looked really nice, that's not what we want Ruben Loftus-Cheek to do. We want him to be driving, creating, and scoring. And that's not what he was good at today. He doesn't really look confident in his body. He doesn't look confident about taking players on. I know it's pre-season. I know he's had a really bad few seasons, but is it going to get any better? Can Chelsea have a passenger as a midfielder like that for 26 years old?
Bro. True talk.
Not really.
True talk.
I think we have to take the emotion out of it, like a lot of Chelsea fans have for this player. There is an unprecedented amount of love for this player, and I try and get through that with my comments. It's nothing against the guy. It's the fact that I don't think he's ready for Chelsea right now. I don't think he will be. He has to go out on loan and actually get 30 games, not the bit part that he has been. So my penny's worth on that is not really impressed with him today. I thought he was functional and he did help the team second half when he dropped in for Gallagher, but not great. And Barkley, just sell him, in my opinion. I'm not going to go any further than that. Pre-season, he loves to turn up for a few games a season like he did for Villa. So sorry to divert the conversation away. I just had to get You've
rattled the live chat, man. They seem to disagree with you, Jonathan. But you know what, live chat, this is why I like Jonathan, because this is the other side of the coin. We've talked about, Taryn's touched on, and myself as well touched on some of the positives, but Taryn was heavy on some of the things as well that let's calm down about the hype on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He didn't look that great. The live chat, some of the people were, up in awe about his performance today. But Jonathan has really brought us back into reality, which is the fact you can't have a passenger in the coming season. And is it worthwhile for his sake as well to just be a bit part player and just stay in the bench where he's not going to feel completely, part of the squad all the time? Unless, I don't know, Thomas Tuchel, if he can give him some confidence that look, you are going to have some sort of involvement in the squad, and we're going to be in for many, many titles this season. So stick around. Look, let's see. But Jonathan is right in the sense that is it better for him to go away and get that 30, 40 matches under his belt, feel confident about your body, feel very strong? It's up for a debate. It truly is up for a debate.
He needs goals. There's literally no point of him, in my opinion. Like I said, he was functional today. And the reason why people are praising him is because he played in a position that we don't all know and love him for. If he's not going to get you 8-10 goals a season, where does he fit in this Chelsea side? Because we've got Kovacic, who's a much better ball carrier. You've got Jorginho and Kante, who we know their roles. So where does he really fit? And look, I love the player. I really want him to succeed, but I just don't think it's going to work. And as I said, not to be harsh on Barkley, but again, he shows quality 3-4 games a season, and that is not good enough for Chelsea. You need to show it 12, 15, 18 games. You need to turn up minimum and get it and put a shift in and get on the score sheet or make a contribution. So, yeah, those two players divide the opinion of a lot of fans. But it's just,
they do, bro.
it's an opinion. I think that's why it's so good to come on here and have these kind of debates.
100%. The live chat's mixed, to be honest. Some are saying sell Barkley, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Some are praising what Jonathan said. Some are absolutely hating what Jonathan said. It is what it is. But we see the game in different perspective. But we'll see what happens with Ruben. Let's see what he does in the next upcoming matches. We've obviously talked about Sterling as well, touched a little bit about Sarr as well. Just quickly on Sarr, I'll go to Taryn on this one. By the way, guys, 200 live still. Like, literally, it's been constant 200. You guys are enjoying it. Clearly, you're enjoying it. You're not going away. Smash the like button. Get it all the way up to 200 if you're enjoying it. If you're here for the first time, subscribe as well. Very important. We're going to do many, many streams. I'll have an announcement down the track as to what's coming through as well. And check out the boys and their socials in the description. Taryn, just quickly in regards to Sarr, a lot of people keeps bringing this player's name up all the time. But what about Sarr? But what about Sarr? He must be in the play. I'm like, dude, calm down. There's Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Christensen, Thiago Silva, Zuma, Reece James. All of these guys still play in the back. Zuma perhaps probably might go, but then now there's Koundé, rumors that are legitimate rumors now. Fabrizio Romano, if you believe anyone, you should probably believe Fabrizio Romano, and he's saying that the conversations have started and Koundé is keen to come to Chelsea. So when that happens, you know something's about to go. Something's about to happen. Maybe it's a swap deal with Zuma. Maybe Zuma goes there and Koundé comes over here. But Sarr, I mean, I can't see how he plays, man. I really can't. Decent performance, as Jonathan said, kind of had that Rudiger vibe to him. I can't see how he's going to be part of the team, though. Taryn?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I actually think Sarr could have a part to play next season as a backup left centre-back. I mean, if Koundé comes in, he would preferably be down the middle or on the right centre-back role, which could be, Azpilicueta, maybe again less game time. But from what I saw today, I wouldn't say Sarr is really, really comfortable on the ball, where he can, receive all the time. He can play out possession like a Jules Koundé, like a Thiago Silva, like a Rudiger, like Christensen. But he does look like he does have a little bit of balance to him. People think, yes, last season for Porto, he didn't play a lot. Maybe he played like 15, 16 games in total. But before that, in Nice, he was one of the best, left foot centre-backs, best young left centre-backs in world football at the time. Arsenal were linked to them. A few different teams were linked to him. We got him in the end when his contract expired. He was really heavily rated when he was at Nice before. But that was the French league. Is it the same in the Premier League? Is it the same here? I do think he could have a part to play. We do need centre-backs in a season where we could be playing 60, 65, even 68, 69 games next season. We do need another centre-back in the system if Zuma does leave, who can play in the left centre-back role. Even Zuma, when he came in the left centre-back, he was not playing great in the Brighton game and a few other games. He wasn't too good in that role. I do think we do need a player who can play there 15, 16, 17 games in the season, maybe in the Super Cup, in the Club World Cup, even in the Carabao Cup, where he can come in, even in some Premier League games where he can have an input. because I do think he does have a bit of composure around him. He is good carrying the ball. He's good at intercepting. He's quite tenacious. He's quite aggressive. He does have some good attributes. Maybe not to the ability where anywhere near Rude to get anywhere near Silva, but I do think he could have a part to play next season as a backup player. And he has had, like I said, not a great loan at Porto. He was heavily rated before in Nice, and I do think maybe he could have a part to play next season. It is controversial, but a lot of people in the live chat, even on football Twitter, weren't really rating Sarr a lot, saying he needs a loan. But I do think if we do need a player, he will play a decent amount of games this season. He will come in as a rotation, for some games. I do think Sarr is that player, and I do quite rate him, actually. Gurhi's gone out, Tomori's gone, a few other players have left. Even though we could say Sarr's quite similar to them in his kind of his height, his style of play, his kind of way of defending, I do think Sarr is a player who can play another part next season. And I'll see what the live chat say about that, because I do think he can have a part to play as a backup.
Yeah, man. Look, the live chat once again is quite split. Some are saying on loan, some are saying too many centre backs already. Some are saying perhaps as a backup because of his left foot. It is a mixed sort of conversation. Just a quick announcement. I will have a show tomorrow, UK, around 11:30 a.m. Talk about Jules Koundé, the big news that's come out. And we can talk about Sarr and all the other centre-backs as well. And there will be a fans call-in. So, guys, do tune in on that. We've got over nearly 200 people. So, would love to hear what the fans have to say about this, which will be very, very interesting. I can already see very much a mixed review on it. So we'll definitely talk about that situation as well. Let's now start to wrap things up. Jonathan, go to you. Overall, happy with what you've seen, excited to see what's coming up next as well, the upcoming matches. I mean, what's your final thoughts, man?
I'm liking this edgy, controversial Taran with this new facial hair to begin with. I like that.
He's got some out of the box.
A little bit different. I thought I'd make it blush there. But yeah, look, I think it was good to get minutes under in a lot of players' legs just to let Tuchel have a little bit of a look on some of these players. I think he probably would have made his mind up on quite a few of them. 21 players that he saw on the pitch tonight. I think it would have helped him a lot more know where his squad's going to go. But yeah, I think we move on to the next. We don't want to get any more injuries. We move on to the next friendly, Arsenal one, and then Tottenham, and then I think we've got the Super Cup and then Palace. And this is all going to come very quickly. So with the players coming back from Euros last couple of days, we need to try and bed them in the next couple of friendlies as well. Get an idea of where our starting lineup's going to be for the Super Cup and the Palace game. So look, we don't want to read too much into today. I think the reason why we've had such a long discussion is because we've seen so many players we haven't seen for so long, and we want to understand where they fit in the squad. So I think it's been really interesting to delve into it. And obviously it's been great to come back and have a match review after so long. The Champions League final was the last one we did. So it's been a pleasure as always. And I always enjoy reading through the live chat, which always tries to put me off. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, another win, momentum continues and more minutes and hopefully, I say no injuries and we continue into the next game and we can beat this Arsenal and Tottenham, whatever cup or trophy it is, or I don't know if it's just the friendlies.
What is
there's tickets still outstanding. I keep being offered tickets.
Something Mind Cup or something like
that sounds about right for there's a charity Mind, but there's tickets available. If you're in London, trust me, you can get a ticket if you want to go. So be interesting to see what happens.
Brilliant. Taran, my boy, what's your final thoughts on this? I think it's a very good point that Jonathan said. Some of the big superstars will be coming back. Your Kai Havertz, your Timo Werners, Kante, Rudiger, they will probably feature in the next match. So probably see less of some of these players that we've seen today. It's true what Jonathan's saying. We're literally just 4 games away from the Super Cup. So the upcoming 3 games, 3 games? No, 2 games. Arsenal and Spurs just before the Super Cup. So really 2 games. It's going to be very, very important. Your final thoughts, my man?
Yeah, quickly on the face, it's not going to stay. I did just forget to shave this morning, so you won't be seeing this again. So
I don't mind that, bro. Taran's growing up in this channel, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of like a Jadon Sancho kind of face, but he's a Man United player. Let's leave that. But I do think it's going to be difficult because we have these players coming back next week. Where we Mason Mount, Chilwell, and Jorginho, Christensen. when will they kind of be fit into the team? Because we have the Tottenham game in a week, which, you know, is on the 4th. Then we have the Super Cup. Is it really smart to just throw them in the Super Cup without, you know, a lot of game minutes after a long break? I'm not really sure what's going to kind of happen at the minute, but, you know, I'm excited to see some of these other players like Dujon Sterling, like Conor Gallagher, who had an all right game today. A few other players kind of come in and play well. And what is it, Jonathan? Everyone saw my Jonathan's YouTube channel. Did you make a new channel, Jonathan? Talking about all your great jokes and stuff.
No, I'm just, it's just the appearances. I like to obviously come on other side of the court. I don't do much on YouTube anymore for that question. Obviously, appreciate you asking, to be fair. It's very kind.
Jason, he does have a YouTube channel, but he spends more time here. So you might
I
as well
enjoy the other
in
side
here.
of the coin so much. Look, it's time-wise. Look, I've got a young family, and to be honest, I enjoy guesting on other things. You know, I've been on that Perfect Hat Trick podcast for the Euros. I'm on with Miz all the time, and this is why it's such a great channel. I know I'm taking it away as I always do at the end, but look, guys, this guy does a service. He's got up whatever time it is in Australia to watch this Chelsea-Bournemouth game. I was even thinking, do I really want to watch it? Even with this review, he's waking up, as a lot of the other people in the live chat do. So really appreciate your support as always. Subscribe to this guy's channel and make sure you like the video. It pushes it out and gives more opportunity to have a debate, because that's what we're here for. We're just here for honest, plain debate about the club that we love. We spend so much time and money on. So support this guy, because he's a great guy. And he's getting, I'm hearing the Australian accent more and more. Maybe because you're staying at home in lockdown. It's just, I can really hear that Australian accent coming through.
Thank you so much, boys. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. What a brilliant way to come back. I've missed it, I have to say. I'm pretty sure the live chat missed it as well. We were doing this literally every 2 to 3 days, previews, reviews. You know, the things were looking awesome last season, but it's going to be even better this season. It's going to be, we're going to have different artworks, different people. You know, Taryn might be doing some madness as well, so do look out for that. It's going to be brilliant. And Jonathan will be back and in this channel on a regular basis, and you're going to love it. The discussions are going to be absolutely mind-blowing. We're going to have fans live call-ins the day after the match is finished, so I get to hear from you guys as well. If I don't get to hear from you guys in the review, I get to hear from you guys the day after, where I'll literally do a live fan call in, and then you guys can talk. I'll call it the aftermath show, so we can talk about that particular game. But yeah, guys, we'll finish things off here. As I said, Jules Koundé, and I think there's a little bit of an update on Haaland. Apparently, Haaland said that now that Daniel Marlon is here, hope he thinks about playing with me alongside. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Haaland's just been a bit cheeky. I know he probably knows deep inside where his future is, but we don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Do tune in for that, 11:30 a.m. UK time. Smash the like button, still close to 200. You guys have enjoyed it, so let's smash the like button, get the likes off the roof. Let's get it to 150, 200. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Check out the boys and their socials in the description. Until next time, everyone, hope you all have enjoyed this and this game. Take care and have a very, very good day, night, wherever you are. See ya.